My name is Bob Gill, ARC General Manager for the Southeast Asia region. And today I'm delighted to have with me from Siemens, Mr. Raimund Klein, Executive Vice President and Head of Digital Industries, Southeast Asia, who, like me, is based here in Singapore. So hello and welcome, Raimund.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Bob.
Yes, and I know that you've been with Siemens for many years in different positions in different countries. So perhaps you can start by telling us more about your current role as Siemens Head of Digital Industries here in Southeast Asia.
Originally, what we do in Asia Pacific, or what we did in Asia Pacific, is really engineering, sales, after service. But with the Industry 4.0 technologies, the headline is transformation. Transformation number one, our own engineering, service and sales capabilities, transform them into consultative sales. Because in the past it was more or less a product, a system sales, and now what our people need to learn, and they do it quite quickly, that they need to combine digital core modules in vertical digital systems which solve the conventional problems of our customers. And this is a complete new approach. So, but another background is, of course, I'm responsible for the ASEAN region, which are altogether 10 countries, and in 7 we are active with offices.
Okay, thank you. I know 2020 was a tough year for everyone, but globally, Siemens Digital Industries performed relatively well, as I understand. How was the division's performance here in the Southeast Asia region?
It was, I would say, better than what is announced in officially of Digital Industries. And the main reason is that ASEAN, the population, of course, more and more production are placed within ASEAN. Number one. Number two, that with Corona, even if you do not load your factory, you need somehow to productivize that you can keep the price of the products, which means at the end you need to invest in automation. And this is one reason why we are quite good. The other reason is that we mix now, as I stated at the beginning, our let's call it classic portfolio with our digital systems for the customer digital systems and solutions. One is aquaculture 4.0, but we can talk later by example about that one. Another topic is social distancing. So a lot of factories approached us to keep social distancing, that there is no outbreak of the virus in the production itself. And so we need to automate certain parts of the factory that the social distance between the workers is given during the pandemic.
Okay, thank you. So one of the highlights of last year, 2020, for Siemens here, I would imagine must have been the launch last September of the Advanced Manufacturing Transformation Center, AMTC.
Correct.
Perhaps you can tell us more about the aims of AMTC and the kind of work you're doing with companies with this new facility.
Okay, AMTC is a technology platform. Technology platform because it's an ecosystem, and the ecosystem consists of governmental institutions like aerospace institutions, precision engineering, and then educational institutions, Technical University of Munich, Singapore Polytechnic. Beside that, also we have technical partner who showcase in this term now all the 3D printing technologies in AMTC, Advanced Transformation Center, and Advanced Manufacturing Transformation Center, sorry. And here what we do is we enable the technologies because we call it the digital garage. So again, customers will come with a problem and they need not to invest into 3D printer and all these technologies, but we enable these technologies in AMTC, solving their problem, and then when they are convinced of the technologies, they can move with these solutions into their own manufacturing plant premises. This is a little bit the background. Now, it's open since 4 months. We have polymer printer, titanium printer, ceramic printer, we have the aluminum alloy printer, and we also moving in adjacent markets here, because I give you an example. What we learned is that high-end consumer companies now designing goods, consumer goods, with 3D printing technologies. So we also approaching here design universities in Singapore, and all these students then get educated on the technologies, on the partner technologies and our technologies. What we also do in AMTC is that we design with the customers together, let's say a 2D product into a 3D drawing. And then we do with the customers the prototyping, and even if the customer wants, we do a complete end-to-end production line design. And then the customer even finance. So another partnership is with banks in AMTC, and they finance then this end-to-end production line. And then when we design the product, we design the production line, customers can move in their premises. But there's also another topic behind AMTC, because at the moment, 3D printer more or less are high-tech, but also low-tech. Because if you start printing, you need to press the on-off button. And there is not really a plug and play between the different phases that you print, prototype, that you need to certain cut mechanism put inside, you do the rework, you do the quality measurement, and there is no plug and play. So also here, we call it the board of thoughts. So also all our partner are in the board of thoughts, and we design with them roadmaps how to integrate the products from a digital perspective to make it easier later for the companies, for the end customers to integrate these new technologies in their production lines. I give you an example. If you have a CNC machine, or there are several CNC machines where you later then assemble a product, and this product then moves in your production, you need to simulate in a digital twin first how many printers do you need, and how do they produce this part you replace the CNC machines with 3D printing. And here, by example, what we also do in AMTC, we create typicals for our digital twin software that we can do the simulation of the layout and optimization of productions. And then we simulate it before the customer invests in all this technology, that they see and prove that the productivity of the factory is improving by enabling these new technology, 3D printing in this case. But not only this, what we also have, we have unmanned drones, logistics. So they carry up to 3 kilograms, and you have one control center, and the control center can divide the airspace over a city in flight zones. So this is one topic. The other is border control. So also these technologies we have there. So really that we can assemble different technologies, different modules to a digital solution system for the customer.
Okay, so it goes well beyond just 3D printing.
It goes well beyond. So we have 3 portfolio elements here. The first one is 3D printing. The second one is discrete industry, so aerospace, automotive, semiconductor, by example, as an industry segment. And the third one is process industry, where we have all the digitalization technology for chemical and pharmaceutical, digitalization of processes, simulation of processes, all integrated in AMTC. We have edge computing with artificial intelligence for neural network in there. And this will be a regional headquarter for Asia Pacific in Singapore. Yeah, and there's much more behind the AMTC, what I mentioned already. It is really being the digital garage for our end customers, manufacturer, plant users, to come see what are the technologies and how do I enable them, let's say, on a smaller scale with a real problem they have. Because all the engineers are trained in AMTC, and we can convert then all these problems.
Okay, so it sounds very interesting, Raymond. So I know it's only been a few months, but what kind of response have you had from companies with respect to the AMTC?
The response is extremely good, honestly, because it's now 4 months open and we had over 600 customers visits. The topic is now that we even start to make, actually, we immediately said at the beginning it's a public place, so everybody can come and have a look. But it's overwhelming that we make now every Friday an open house. And during Monday to Thursday, we channel those customers who really have relevant problems, where we then start discussing with them how enable these technologies. And of course, this is one topic, the customers who then somehow get a member of the AMTC to solve their problems and get access to all the technologies, but also successful on the element of the partners who are owing the technologies. So it's not only the Siemens technologies, we have Hewlett Packard, we have EOS, we have Exxon, we have Ultimaker, we have Stratasys, we have all these printer manufacturers there, and we have even now our R&D labs in to develop 3D printer for bone printing, by example.
Right, thank you. And in case there are people listening to this podcast who may be interested to visit the AMTC, would that be possible? And how should they go about doing that?
It's no problem. It's really no problem. Yeah, the best is they send me a mail, and really just send me a mail. It's Raimund, Raimund.Klein, Klein, at Siemens.com. Just write down as the subject AMTC, write down what you want to see, where your interest is, what your problem is, and I will assign you to the right people that you have really content in the discussion about the technologies.
Okay, that sounds great, and I think this is really going beyond just looking at PowerPoints, but actually seeing some of the technology. I think that's very valuable.
This was the initial idea, because we had customers who said, "But you built production here." I said, "Yes. It's a flexible production. It's not PowerPoint. It's not a showcase what we could do. It is really a production. How do I do it?" So hands-on, taking top-notch technology, Industry 4.0, being it blockchain, being it virtual reality for operator training, being a generative design to create a new product layout, for, by example, velocity of active reactive material in the oil and gas industry. Is it that we need to redesign the interior for aerospace applications because it need to be more hollow and light in this way? Or is it, by example, that we have, let's say, turbo blades for gas turbines in this case, but also turbo blades for other applications where we need titanium and other material, where the customer first want to test the printer. If they then move with the printer later on, if they found the right fit of material and printer, move later on into their factories. It's really what you said. It's not a showcase. It is really that the customer come and we digital garage, repair, refurbish, use the technologies to really find another solution to productivize in a new hype their factory layout.
Right, thank you. If I could talk about an earlier digital industries initiative, the ZerOne Design Digital Factory Manufacturing Design Consultancy, which I think was from 2017.
Correct.
Again, can you tell us more about the kind of work that is going on there and what sort of benefits companies are getting through engaging with Siemens through ZerOne?
Yes. So ZerOne.design was created because customer asked us, how does all these technologies fit together? So, and then we came to the idea to create the name ZerOne in the digitalization. This is the binary code, the start of all digital history. So we call it ZerOne and .design, because we found out that you not just can take a vertical oil and gas and digitalize the whole petrochemical plant, but what we need to create, and this we did under ZerOne.design, you need to create digital core modules. By example, digital twin or production optimization as a service. This is one module. There are working 5 people in. These people are young people. They have their own business plan. The business plan was elaborated by themselves. So they carrying their own business plan, and create their own sales and engineering in the market. Like this module, the digital twin as a service, we have blockchain, we have horizontal integration of the customer's digital enterprise. We have 3D printing, AMTC, and then we combine all these different modules in vertical solution. These digital modules, to combine them, you need to know these technologies, and we have around about 20 of them at the moment, these modules. You need to know them in depth and in detail. And when you know them in depth and detail, then comes what we call the digital architecture. This is what I mentioned at the beginning, that we transform our sales and engineering approach. These are the consultative sales guys and ladies who know all these core modules in depth, the technology, and the customer then explain what the problem is. They need to understand the problem and transform this problem with certain modules, not all of them, into a digital solution. This digital solution then is domain specific. I give you here an example. I mentioned it already at the beginning. It's called aquaculture 4.0. Here what we did is, in an adjacent market, digitalization of a fish farm. So how do we optimize the food conversion rate, not overfeeding the fish? How do we do, let's say, predictive disease, and perhaps not with antibiotics, but with probiotics? Then trusted food chain, blockchain encrypting from the seeds until the fish fillet is in the supermarket. So where is it coming from? Did it came, let's say, in touch with antibiotics or more probiotics? So is it really an ecological fish farm which has a very low CO footprint with own solar collectors and is energy independent? So we combined in this example, and we can go later a little bit more in detail here, what we do. We combined all these modules then in a vertical solution, and in this case, aquaculture 4.0. So the digital architecture look at the conventional process, they know all the technologies, and they combine the technologies in a domain-specific digital solution. In this way, it was aquaculture 4.0.
Well, that's interesting. So we're going from industry 4.0 to aquaculture 4.0. And I know the smart floating fish farm had quite a bit of publicity in Singapore last year. So that was, I understand, quite a successful project of yours.
Yes. Actually, it was created a little bit more out of fun, I must tell you. Okay. Out of fun, it came rather serious, because we discussed once and say, how about we automate a fish farm, or not automate? Automate is the old technology. How about we digitalize a fish farm? And as more we digged into the process of a fish farm, as more we came to technologies which have never been used before. I give you now let's say a little bit an overview. The first is you see the fish, and the fish swims in the tank. And now the first thing what need to be optimized is how to feed the fish, because 60%, 60, 70% of the cost of a fish farm is the food. So now when you measure the oxygen level, you measure the weather data, you measure then the biomass of the fish. And here we developed the first technology, a 3D camera, which catch the eye of the fish, the middle point of the fish. And based on the species, then we calculate the biomass of the fish. Then when we catch this data, we upload this data in the IoT platform MindSphere, that we can do the data analytics later. And then we automated the feeder. So it's automatically feeded. So we measure the biomass, but also the activity from the fish. And we elaborate based on that. Is the fish hungry? Is he not hungry? And start to feed. And also measure then under which conditions does the fish growth best. So the topic here is really to increase the yield up to 10%, productivity of a fish farm, how the species is growing better. And herefore we need the IoT solution from us, that we extract all these data, the camera picture, the biomass calculation, the feeder data, that we can see under which condition, which size, which pellet size the fish grows best. This is one. Another one is disease control. Here we are a little bit at the beginning. The camera and everything else we did is disease control. And you know, sometimes it's also good if you don't know a fish farm, because we had a discussion with some specialists, and they said, Raimund, how you want to do these? How you want to do the disease control? I said, I have no idea. Perhaps we see it through the camera, and it was a little bit like a greenhorn article. And they said, no, not possible, because you need to take a microscope. I said, okay, you're right, but perhaps the disease is leaving a fingerprint in the bacteria composition of the water. And then we found out that this is the case. So what we're looking at the moment is for let's say, bacteria sensor, which then give us the composition of the bacteria, need not the whole bacteria, only those, let's say, for the 5 disease cases per species, where we see and we measure then the bacteria and do with machine learning. Now comes the next industry 4.0 technology, retrospective analysis and pattern recognition. Which composition happened, let's say, 3-5 days before the disease breakout, and where do we see any pattern in them? So then when we see the pattern in the composition of the bacteria, and we can interpret that this pattern is the reason that later the breakout of the disease comes, then we need not to take, now comes the next one, antibiotics, we can use probiotics. And what I also learned after we analyzed the thing, that indeed there are fish farms who use constantly probiotics, but the topic is it costs also money. So we would then on the spot be able to let's say, inject probiotics based on the composition of the bacteria to bring it back to a harmonized environmental for the fish, that the disease breakout will not happen. So now you see already there are complete new ways to drive such a fish farm, and also CO2 footprint. So the fish farm is equipped with solar technology on the roof, with battery packages. And now it comes that we need to measure the energy in the battery. And when the weather data is telling in the next 2 days it will rain, then we need to calculate how often we can flush the basin where the fish, the tanks where the fish is swimming in. So it's I must tell you, it's very exciting and very interesting if you develop from scratch such a topic.
Yes, it sounds fascinating, Raimund. Sounds fascinating. If I could just take this a little bit wider. So I noticed Siemens has been very active in industry-wide digital initiatives like SIRI, which is the Smart Industry Readiness Index.
Yes.
This was something that was conceptualized in Singapore, but it is aiming to become an internationally recognized standard for Industry 4.0 transformation. So presumably these kinds of activities that you get involved in, they're there to position Siemens as a leader in the digitalization space. Is that correct?
This is not correct. I mean, what we do here is a little bit community support, you can say. Because the problem is that we saw that customers don't know where to start their journey because they cannot baseline their current status of the factory and plant, independent if it is a discrete or it is a chemical plant. So then we made, let's say, with Singapore government, McKinsey, TÜV Süd, and Siemens, we combined forces and we said, okay, let's develop, let's say, how do we slice such a manufacturing site in a smart way? And then we came to 3 pillars, which is technology, process, and organization, because you can have all the technology and digitalize all the process, but if you don't have the right talents to drive then these technologies in the organization, then it doesn't make sense. So, and then we developed these SIRI assessment. So here you have a bandwidth from 0 to 5. 0 means you really at the beginning, 5 you are top notch. And to be honest, from all the assessments we did in the last 2 years, I would say it's maximum between 2 and 3. The interesting part is that you see when you live in a special industry segment, because SIRI will then also generate industry cards, so that by example, Singapore industry card for chemical and let's say Germany industry card for chemical, you can flex them and you can see where is which industry in advanced productivity than other and what is the technology which is driving that. So we create transparency, we create baselining for individual companies. The companies can benchmark themselves anonymously because the companies are not mentioned which one it is, but the data is in that you see there are other companies in your area and they are more productive, but they use another, let's say, profile in the SIRI assessment, in the bandwidth. And here we have the, let's say, the pillars. By example, if we go to process, you have the horizontal integration, you have the vertical integration, and the product lifecycle management. And here we have independent assessors, and it's not only Siemens, TÜV Süd, and McKinsey. So this system will now be opened to everybody, because that's the reason I mentioned at the beginning, it's community service a little bit, because everybody can now be an assessor, but it need to be certified by Singapore government or a training institute, which has been assigned as a SIRI assessor training institute. And then this thing, you are right, will be rolled out with the help of World Economic Forum as a world standard.
Okay, so that's SIRI, the Smart Industry Readiness Index.
Correct, but one thing I forgot, if you go later to a solution design, the first step is doing such an assessment, that you know where is your starting point. Only from the starting point, you start then to design, let's say, the next step into, let's say, a digital solution. That was the background of it.
Okay, Raimund. So following up on your comment that most companies are around 2 or 3 on the index. So as you are responsible for Southeast Asia, and as you look at the different countries here, at the different industries, I would guess you see very different levels of digital understanding and digital adoption?
Yes. you see that, but you cannot say so much country specific. It is really a matter of the owner of the company, how he is approaching these technologies. I give you an example. Based on the theory results, we found out that a major success factor was not that the owner was driving it, no, that these companies who set up intra-company teams crossing an R&D department, the production planning department, the operation department, and let's say the service department at the end, and cooperate to each other, they started already to adopt these horizontal vertical integration, and they were more advanced in digitalization than others. So you cannot really specifically make it linked to a country, but one thing is clear: those countries who have a digital roadmap, a digitalization roadmap for their industries, where it's driven by the government, they have a more speed in the transformation than others. This is clear. And the topic is, when you go to, let's say, engineering universities, and you not change the curriculum, so you do a normal electrical engineering with automation equipment, then you will leave the school not with the knowledge we need for this new Industry 4.0 technology. So also there, where efforts have been done to change the curriculum in the universities, that these new technologies are integrated in the curriculum, these countries are better performing in terms of productivity, let's say gaining foreign direct investment than others. This is correct.
Okay, that's very interesting. Finally, Raimund, before we finish, I believe we first met probably about 15 years ago, and we would be discussing things like PLCs, drives, the PCS7 control system. Now we're talking about cloud, AI, IoT. So this evolution of Siemens from an automation company to a digital company, I guess this is going to continue over the next few years.
It will continue because the technology evolves in a very quick speed. And because the technology evolves in a very quick speed and one cannot do it alone, I need now, to repeat, the AMTC, Advanced Manufacturing Transformation Center. The ecosystem then at the end is stronger than one big fish. And because of this quick speed of the involvement of the technologies, we need to combine even Siemens ourselves with other companies to create this ecosystem to deliver a complete solution to satisfy customer benefit expectations in this way.
So thank you very much for your time today, Raimund.
Thank you very much. So what's left to say, because tomorrow is Chinese New Year, so Gong Xi Fa Cai.
And we have been speaking to Raimund Klein, Executive Vice President and Head of Digital Industries ASEAN. And do look out for future episodes of ARC Advisory Group's Digital Transformation podcast. Thank you.